I was
They were
proud. Yeah, it worked.
loud and proud.
Just remember where you were with that story and then get back. All right, so we are going to turn the recorder on. And we are going to move right into our school improvement plans. And we have, first up, Hacienda Elementary and Miss Carissa Hershkowitz.
Good evening, Mr. President and board members.
Good evening.
I didn't get my tutorial. I always forget how to use these things. So we're going to be going through our school improvement plan for Hacienda Elementary School for the 25-26 school year. And just a reminder for everybody what our big, hairy, audacious goal is for Hacienda, that we will be a model school for meeting the physical, social, and emotional and academic needs of all students. You have our full report. This is just a snippet of some of our demographic data. Slight changes in enrollment, pretty steady on our attendance rate, but you can see from that we did have a drop, a decrease from 94 to 92% last year, which I was hoping it would go the other direction, but you never know. And pretty steady with our free and reduced. EL students, we have 43 EL students. That includes 12 or 13 kindergartners that came in as language learners, and it includes 13 it doesn't include an additional 13 that are monitored. So once they exit the EL program, they have to be monitored for another 2 years. So on top of those numbers that are getting direct services, Ms. Lands is responsible for monitoring the progress of the other ones that have exited the program.
Wow.
So they're not just kicked to the curb. Special education program is still standing strong, as you can see, and we're showing one officially tested gifted student. So to put our plan together, we go through our needs assessment each year. A leadership team looks through things, pretty much the whole school is looking through and discussing those items, and we brainstorm and we identify those areas that we want to focus on and determine how we will focus on those. It's also shared at our site council. We look at that needs assessment, our state data, discipline data, and our attendance data to put the plan together. So our first math goal, and I know you have the report that shows how we did on our state assessment. We did grow by 10%. We had showed 10% growth from our math, for our math, and this pretty much matches what we had last year as far as a goal. There was a robust conversation among our staff about whether we should go with something safe like 5% and say, okay, we did 10 last year, let's do 5 this year. And it went back and forth. It was a very robust conversation about what's really right and what we are satisfied with as a staff. And that's where it landed. And we also explained, like, you set a goal, and we're going to do all the things to reach the goal, but there's no goal jail. So it's okay, right? We're stretching and working hard. And I've always said our staff works hard toward these goals. So in identifying those supports to meet that goal, we've got lots of professional development, the resources that come with all of our new curriculum. We have our district instructional coaches that are coming in and providing support. Within math, they're doing goal setting and the graphing. So there's a lot of research behind that. Students who understand what their goal is, that they are more aware of what they're reaching for. Accountability talk is teaching students how to respond. I respectfully agree with your math there, Mr. Malio, but I think you did your math wrong. So you teach students how to agree and disagree, so that students aren't just accepting that the teacher holds all the answers, and then of course using spiral review so that it is ongoing and in front of them consistently.
So looking at the math
Yes.
data, sorry, can I just?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it looks like fifth grade math was up 20, is that 20%? It just says the change over there is like plus and minuses. I'm just trying to figure out if that's percentile.
That's 20%.
Okay, so third grade math was up 3, fourth grade math was up 5, and fifth grade math was up 20. So math overall was up across the board. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's all I wanted to know.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, speaking of those numbers, what is that percent? In other words, like in 25, you've had 0 high proficient, 26% proficient in the fifth grade math. Just taking that one for example.
Okay.
The year before, you had 2 and 4. So what are those percentages? Is that the number of students out of all the ones
The
tested?
percent of the students in fifth grade who took that test.
Okay.
They went from 6% to 26%.
Of students passed.
Proficient, yeah.
So you
Proficient
went,
or highly proficient goes
So,
together.
yeah, so you went, so your percentage increased to 20%, but you went from, so basically you went from 3 students to 10 students if you
Yes.
just look at raw numbers.
Yes.
Which is 30%, 33%, but I don't know, or is it 60%?
Depends on the enrollment.
No, but I'm just saying that
Oh.
the numbers, if you just look at raw numbers, 3 to 10. Yeah.
Right. If you're looking at it that way, I like the way you're looking at it.
Let's go with that one.
Let's go with that one. Yes.
Go ahead, increase.
And this is, you know, we know we had an implementation dip with the new curriculum with math. So this is us getting more familiar with that curriculum and also studying out our staff in our 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade. Okay. For ELA, again, we're going for a lofty goal, right? That's where we want to be. We want our students to do well here. ELA is a little more challenging than math. Math is that logical sequential, and ELA, there's a lot to interpretation, right? So we know that our other data, like from our Acadians, is showing that we are producing more readers. So now we need to work more diligently on students understanding deeper concepts in reading, right? Go. Is there a question? Yes.
Correct me if I'm wrong,
Sure.
but on your school improvement plan, it says 12%.
Oh,
So I just wondered,
I just increased it on my own,
did you
maybe?
just increase
Yeah.
it on your own?
Maybe.
Or what was agreed on by your staff, I guess?
I will honestly have to double check that to see which one is correct.
Okay.
I apologize for that.
It's all right.
I didn't hear your
12,
question.
12 to 15. There's a discrepancy between the slide and the
Between the
document.
plan and
The
the
plan and the
presentation.
Yeah.
She was just making a real tough one.
They
I'm
said
gonna
12,
think
but
it's
let's
12
stretch it to
because
15.
you probably were real on the plan and
Yes.
then the presentation,
Yes.
which still is lofty for ELA. So
Yes, it is. It is. Considering we went backward last year, right? So,
Right, so-
we do have a new curriculum for our ELA this year. So we're getting a lot of training. We're going to spend half of this Friday just working on that new curriculum. There are a lot of resources, and sometimes that's a bit overwhelming. But you know, reading for the most part is reading, right?
Could you speak just a moment to the 43 ELL students and just to be sure that I'm correct, they take all these same tests, so their scores are inside all of this.
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you.
And all of the students on IEPs, we've
Right.
got a handful that are exempt from it, but most of
Got
them
it.
are taking it.
Thank you.
So that really can skew the results because of who all's taking
There's a lot of
the test.
factors, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of factors
We want
that are
them
going into
learning
that.
right alongside everybody else. And some of my EL students are my top performers. So
Oh, good.
yeah.
Good.
But language is a little more tricky than
Mm-hmm.
math language, right? And the math assessment is, the whole thing is read to them. So they have headsets on and all of it can be read to them as part of the state assessment. And of course in ELA, the whole point is, can you read, right? So
But
similar
it's read to them in English.
What's that?
It's read to them
In English,
yeah.
right. Instructions in English,
Right.
practices in English, and the assessment is in English. Like our math, we're working on goal setting and progress graphing. We're working on a lot of choral and repeated readings, getting good with our fluency, automaticity, intonation, everything that goes with being a good reader, and utilizing graphic organizers in different ways so that they can sort out their thoughts, right? And writing practice, you have to do it daily for anybody to get good at it. Okay? Even with ChatGPT. All right, behavior goals. So we made this one very specific to aggressive related behaviors. And just to note that aggression includes horseplay. So just not keeping your hands on yourself. So this is, we had 104 last year, 45 students, so we got a lot of handsiness going on, and just trying to get a focus on that and get those numbers down. Because it starts with horseplay and then it turns into, oops, I hit you, right? We thought it was fun until somebody got hurt.
Right.
So we have ongoing professional development. This is related with our PBIS and talking about how we show honor by keeping our hands, feet, and objects to ourselves. The data is kept in our Swiss system, and each month, the Wednesday before our PD day, we come together as a PBIS team. We go through the data and determine what our next steps are. So how are we going to address these issues? And then on Friday, we'll have some time with our staff and say, these are things that we need to adhere to. Okay. Attendance. Attendance is one of those tough things, especially with little ones, that you rely on your parent to get you to school and get you to school on time. And we've got our eyes on them. We've got lots of phone calls happening. We have the behavior coach making calls. I've made calls, sent dojo messages. We do our regular attendance letters. And then I sent a special letter this summer to all of my kindergarten families, just saying, let's start off their school careers right and get to school. Because if you aren't at school, we can't teach you. Right?
Chris, so
Yes.
what grades would Billy chase down? All of them?
All of them,
Okay.
yeah. Because it really comes down to the parent,
Okay.
right? We are very cognizant of who really has health issues, other issues going on in the home. Do we need to buy you an alarm clock? We do have the handful of kiddos that are, causing a lot of morning chaos for parents, and parents are exasperated, like, I don't know how to get her to school, she does not want to come. So, you work with the situation and meet them where they are and do whatever we have to do to get them to school every day.
Been there and done that.
Yeah. All right. So again, attendance, interventions, celebrations, frequent communication with families. I think frequent communication is a key there, and making sure that they know it's kind of a, that we know that your child's not at school, and let's figure out how to get them to school in a supportive way, right?
Have you started celebrations yet?
No, our first celebrations will be after fall break.
Okay.
Yeah, and we celebrate perfect attendance and then nearly perfect attendance, so
Yeah.
everybody has a day, right?
Yeah.
So that's fair. Any questions? So
No.
did you want me to discuss the focus items, or are we good?
Mr. Malio, one of the board members had a question about some of the data that they use for their CMA, particularly the focus questions that show up. So I asked Carissa to give that a general overview. Is that okay?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Because it's in the report.
Yeah.
So in the report, you'll see that under each goal, it says action steps with the identified need, the related focal point, and then the WUSD standard, so forth. So under the focal point, and every year it's one of those like, where did we get this information? Because we look at a lot of documents, but it is part of our comprehensive needs assessment questions that comes from the Arizona Department of Education. So they have a set of questions academics and mission vision, structures and systems, assessments, benchmarks, those sorts of things. So that's what it's related to.
Okay.
Okay.
Good. Anybody have any questions for Carissa? No? Thank you, Carissa.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Vulture Peak Middle School and Mr. Scott Backus.
I think in your mind, when you're going over what is the order going to be, my natural thought, because you always have a little anxiety anytime you speak, and my natural thought was, oh, it'll be Hacienda Festival, then me.
Surprise.
So you threw me off, putting me number 2. So
Let the new person have a,
Yeah, we have 3 new.
I'm just all new, aren't they? There you go. After she went first, she's never
Carissa's
first.
the only veteran.
Good job,
that's
Carissa.
And Colleen.
totally okay, though. Totally okay. So, all right. See if we can run through this. Our wild and crazy goal. Just all down. All right, and if you'll excuse me just a second, I did not realize, my eyes aren't as good as when they were young.
Oh.
Tell me.
Yeah, it's all blurry.
They make glasses for that.
So if you look at the bottom there, as far as, the big goal, of course, is that we want to have an A rating, but that doesn't just happen. You have to see more what you're trying to produce, and it's not students coming in just kind of hating to be there, but you want them to be eager and active, and even knowing it's not always fun. It's not, it's hard work. And that teachers are set and trained and ready to inspire and get kids involved in activities. And also the friendships that kids develop, or even student leadership on the campus, that those 3 things working together have to drive that bigger goal. As far as our demographic data, as you see, we have 133 students, and it's a little bit off from last year. This is something I'm hoping to have a little bit of effect on, in the sense of how we engage the community. Some of the community kind of outreaches that we'll have to create a little bit of an excitement for Vulture Peak.
Well, it looks like your attendance rate has gone up.
I'm sorry?
The attendance rate has gone up.
Yes, and that's so far this year, within the first 6 weeks probably when I put that in. I would love to see that maintained. And it does right now. You do see students really showing up, and we're always on the phone with families if they don't show up too. So yeah, I agree, that does look good. So really, the Vulture Peak team really helped put this together. Using, if I can go really to the next slide, the comprehensive needs assessment, certified staff, classified staff, parents as well, data from the state, and using PBIS data for the discipline data and also the attendance data. And as our math goal, we'd really like to see math scores move up, and in a dramatic fashion. If it could get up to that 40 percentile, 6% above the state average, this was a goal that was set by the team. And I think in order to do that, and I'm not going to read through every one of those are things I know that you've looked at, but I think one thing we really wanted to focus on is that when we deliver a lesson, and I take math as an example, that there's always a number of students that just do not understand, and how important it is that we don't wait just for Galileo testing to tell us that, but that every single class we are working with teachers to produce quality exit tickets, that every class we've got an hour and a half of math, that at that hour mark, that teachers learn to give an exit ticket, quality exit ticket, where they can at that moment determine who needs intervention, and then still have that 30-minute block to give immediate intervention, not just wait till a bigger unit test or even Galileo testing. So that's something we're really focusing on, is the exit ticket portion, and then how are we going to do intervention right at that moment. And I think by putting a lot of energy into that, I really do expect that to have a positive effect.
Scott, I have
on
a
our
question on
test
that. Scott, I have a question on that. So you find out that I need some extra help at that 1 hour mark, and so you're going to do some intervention with me. What's happening with the other students?
So I'm going to give you an example I gave the staff. I don't have the picture of it that I put up for them, but we're going to use the flux capacitor. If you're familiar with that reference, that we're teaching the same lesson, but we're going to come to that point, if you can picture how that looks.
Yeah.
We're going to come to that point where we find out. And I had a math teacher that would walk through, and if the person had it right, they would give them like a red tiddlywink. If they had it wrong, they'd give them a yellow one. And then they would say, okay, if you have a red one, come on over here. And they would do a reteach. And then if they had it right, they had an enrichment exercise already available. A lot of times they'd let them work in teams. Students don't always want to do that. Like, I'm rewarded by having to do more work. So having something that's engaging and letting them do that with their friend, but it's something where they get to work on something. Also, they can work on something that's in the past that they failed maybe as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, and that's what we would be working towards. Yeah.
I think that's a great idea, because if you wait weeks and weeks and that child didn't get that concept, it may be that they continue to not get that concept all the way through. So I think that's really important. I know I had a daughter who was, her and fractions were very foreign to one another. And so when she came home, fortunately her mother was very good at math. And so I taught her the fractions, and when the light bulb went on, she was fine. But I truly believe that you need to intervene now, not 6 weeks from now, because by now they're so lost. Now they've given up. Now they're down in the dumps. So I like that. So I like to see that continue.
And Galileo, I still think that is so useful, but it more determines what standards do we really need to reteach. It gives us focus maybe for the next 9 weeks, let's say, where, the instant knowledge of who's getting it and who doesn't, I do think that pays good dividends.
Yeah, well, and for the student mainly, because now they don't feel so lost.
I like what you said there, which I hadn't really thought of, the idea of them feeling lost for days or weeks later.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah. So that's a great idea, and I hope to see it continue.
And that's what we're working on too.
Great.
I do have a question, but I'm gonna wait till you finish your ELA part.
Oh, okay. All right. And ELA has a similar goal. I noticed the ELA scores, they had gone up the year before, and then this last year, they had gone down a little bit. But it's a similar goal of really shooting for that state average plus a 5%. The one thing I would say that's different when you look at the strategies is, if you notice the very first one, step up to writing. This is something the high school instituted a couple of years ago, and I went through the training myself at the high school, and I thought highly of the program, and I know it really did help our students write better at that level, and instituted that into the history class that I taught. And so I do hope we're going to use Step Up to Writing, and we want to see some dividends off of that as well. So that would be the one difference that you would see there.
Okay, my question is this, and I know you've inherited from from years before, but I want to make sure I'm reading this correctly, that the overall proficiency last year for Vulture Peak in ELA was 23% and in math was 16%. That's what I think I see. And therefore your goals this year is to raise ELA and math both, well, math especially, of over 30% and ELA over 20%. Lofty, very, very lofty.
So,
if I'm reading that correctly. So my real question is this: what moved you and your staff to choose even 6% above that when just getting to state average is lofty?
so there's two things that I think drive this. That's such a great question. And not only that, I'd have been disappointed if it didn't come up, because I looked at that too and I was going, boy, just doing the math, I'm like, this is a huge jump that we're talking about. I agree with you completely. And so I looked at this in two ways. Yes, this is the goal that the school set and put in place before I'd really arrived. But the other side of this, I thought, you know what, this is my year where I'm getting to know the staff, trying to figure out who the school is. Let's shoot for the moon. Let's see where we land, but have a high expectation, see where it lands, so that next year, coming in after having a year of knowing everything, putting together, I'm not saying let's drop the expectations, but maybe something that won't be, it might not be as big of a jump. I do agree. I do think, though, too, we really need to feel the burden, I'm talking about the principals, of we need our students to be passing this exam. And there's no reason we can't match the state. And that is possible in a year, but I agree it's lofty. I agree with you.
I thought your answer was going to be
putting that math together.
I was like, whoa. I thought your answer was going to be, to be an A school, we need to be 6% above, because that's where my real question was.
No, it's
To just get to state average is a good 10 or 20% or more, and you're even going over that, and I wonder how your teachers came to that. So
and I was not in that meeting, other than the discussion after, but I can tell you this, that when we talk, I more talk about are our students achieving. I'm not saying I don't care about the grades we get, because I am concerned with that. that reflects on the community and to the community.
Mhm.
But my conversation with the teachers honestly have a lot more to do with how can we help our students succeed.
Very good.
So maybe that's, you know, at least that's the way I envision things more than, you know, I'm aiming at if you aim at just the grade, you know, then the people are not as important. And I really do, I'm very people focused.
Very good. Thank you.
And I don't have really a question, but just a point of clarification. Barbara, I know we've talked about this a lot. Karen, I know you're a little newer to it, but it's really growth percentage that gives your grade, right? No?
It's both. It's
Both.
proficiency growth, ELL growth,
Mhm.
and it's different at the high school, so attendance and graduation rate. And,
Oh, all that.
yeah,
goes into-
it's not just the state assessment, but proficiency and growth on the state assessment are the two measures.
Okay.
I'm looking at Debbie, making sure she's nodding there. But it's multiple, and the target moves every year.
Yeah.
They reset the
Yeah.
Because we
target.
talked about when Festival was A, and then they dropped because their growth wasn't as
Right.
much because it had done so well the year
Right.
before.
Okay. By the way, this is one that excites me because it's something that I really enjoy, helping kids grow in character and just mature, things like that. And this does affect academics, is behavior of students in class. And PBIS, which is something that I already have implemented before at a previous school. So I'm a believer in it. But we've really, I think, honed in on some things. We're seeing improvements in some classrooms where I've had parents talk to me about that. I've had students come and talk to me about it. And I think that's a good thing, you know, I really do want to see that, but I also want to see kids grow up. And while, you know, again, you can read a lot of the things in there for PBIS, I would like to mention the mentoring program. We're doing this is a trial, a pilot, and I've sort of, you know, worked with a couple other teachers to create this, but we're taking students who regularly get in trouble. I don't want them just to experience consequences. Like, I am pretty strong on consequences. I believe in that because somebody's son and daughter deserve to be able to learn and not get it disrupted. But I also care about this child, and so while yes, they can get heavy consequences, we want to mentor them. So what we've done is, and again, this is piloting something that we're trying and, you know, fixing, is somebody to be able to come in the morning, the first 10 minutes, and this is somebody who regularly gets in serious trouble. The first 10 minutes, they have a mentor that talks to them, how was your day, how was your morning, kind of take their temperature, and then has a character lesson that this is all within like 3 or 4 minutes. It's a little story they read with discussion questions, and then, okay, a positive affirmation, how can I help you today, and then let's send them to class. And then at the end of the day, they bookend it with how was your day, you know, are there any problems you had? Teachers can also send if they had an issue with a student. So we're trying to bookend their day. And you know, right now we're seeing good effect on that on one student who, my goodness, the first 2-3 weeks, they were in trouble every single day. And so sometimes they still get in trouble and have problems, but we are seeing less frequency. But it's too early to give you data, but I will give you data on that maybe towards the end of the year. And that's something I'm excited about, just to let you know.
Joe?
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited about that too, because a lot of times the kids that act up are looking for attention. And the fact that they're getting positive attention the minute they walk in the door and positive attention when they leave, I think is great, because if they realize they can get attention by being well behaved, maybe it keeps them from being misbehaved. So I think that's great, and it makes hopefully, you know, makes that kid feel better about himself and makes him behave better.
Yeah, I hope so too. I had a kid in Pearsall, Texas, who came in. I was going, man, this is a fight waiting to happen. I just knew it. I'm like, he's going to start a fight with somebody. And I pulled him aside, talked to him at the beginning of the day, and his dad, I mean, Pearsall's an oil town where people work all night in the oil fields, then the bars are open, they go out drinking, then they come home. And his dad had kicked his dog and hurt his dog, and he came to school. And it's like, if I hadn't have cut that off, you know, and been able to honestly even cry with him a little bit and go, I'm so sorry, like that had to be so hard. And I think we want to catch that with kids. That matters to me, that kind of stuff.
Because regardless of what we may think, none of us truly know what any child goes through before they walk in that door in the morning.
That is true. That is true.
Sometimes the kid with the biggest smile is the kid with the biggest hurts.
I've had I don't want to drag my stuff out, I apologize. I've had a student in my past walk into my room and tell me his mom died the night before. And I just, what are you doing here? This is where I'm happy. So we want that.
I have a related question. Have you designated who the mentor or mentoring team will be? Is it the counselor? Who's going to be the mentors?
So we hired a new PE teacher, and I've been working with him on it. And he's the gate in the morning.
Okay.
And then Sean Sigel.
Okay.
And then Tony Klopak is the gate going out the door.
Okay.
And I work with both of them on, you know, kind of like, how do we do this? Also gotten their input. I don't claim to know how to do this.
Very good.
We're making this up.
I'm a very strong believer in mentor programs, so this will work for you.
I hope to give you some data on that later, right? And there's a little bit on professional development, a little more drawn out what we're focusing on, and if you have any questions.
I have a question just back at the Citizenship SMART goals. What are parent-school partnerships?
Where are you looking? I'm sorry.
On the Citizenship SMART goal number 3 strategies, what started the parent-school partnerships?
On this page right here?
Under Tier 2 intervention, you've got the mentoring program, which you just spoke a lot about. What are the parent-school partnerships? I'm just curious.
I don't want to talk at parents. I want to work with them. And it's not the idea of, I mean, we've all heard of the parent coming to school with their kid and sitting next to them wearing rollers and all that. But when we get to Tier 2, we've already had this. I think of that one boy in particular, where we're not just making a phone call to a parent, but we're inviting them in, and then all of us are sitting down together to talk about how we can meet their need. And I can say that's something we've already done on a couple occasions, is let's bring them in, not just make it an informative phone call of this is what we're doing to your kid, or, you know, like that. So that to me is trying to work together with them, where we involve them in the process. And sometimes we hear things that we didn't know too.
Anybody else have questions for Scott? I guess we're good. Thank you, Scott.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, now we've got Festival Foothills and Miss Holly Bonessi.
We had a rogue volleyball set off our fire alarm system, so I apologize. But, You know, we got the fire department out, they got to tour the campus, and all is well.
Typical day, right?
It's all good. Mr. President, Board, I'm happy to be here to share our Festival of Foothills School Improvement Plan. All right, so our big, hairy, audacious goal is we want to be an A school again. We were an A school for several years prior to and right around the COVID era. We all believe that we can do it, and we have the capacity to do it. So that is where we're looking for. Obviously, it's our huge ultimate goal, but we have all of our goals are aligned to putting systems in place that will help us achieve that. So here's a little bit of our demographic data. Our total enrollment right now, well, when I did this and updated the numbers, is 242. We had 5 new students enroll we had 4 yesterday and 1 today, so we had 5 new students enroll this week. So that number isn't quite accurate, it's a little higher, so we're really excited about that. Our August attendance rate is increasing, so we're really excited. We're pushing attendance with our families. Our big change that I noticed when I was looking at numbers is our LEAP and our free and reduced lunch population. We've been, for the last couple of years, kind of in the upper 20s, and this year, right now, we're at 49% free and reduced lunch. And the applications are good for a year, so some of them are beginning to expire, so we're re-pushing that out to make sure that the families are reapplying who have it currently that might be expiring. So we have a huge jump in that. Our EL students are at 6. Our ESS population 46, and we do have 2 identified gifted students. I am aware that we didn't do gifted testing last year, so these students were identified prior to it, so we're going to make sure that we do our gifted testing this year in the spring. So the team that worked together to kind of put this all in place, the staff completed the comprehensive needs assessment, the certified staff, classified staff, students, parents, input from the teacher leaders, leadership team on campus, and input from site council all worked together in the spring to really go through and get this started. So the data that was used to create these goals are the needs assessment, from the certified staff, from the classified staff, data from the state, so our state testing, as well as our discipline data and our attendance data. So we do have 4 goals for the year. So our first 2 deal with math and ELA, so this is our math goal. They are, for the most part, the same. We want to, at the end of the year, we want to be at state average for our scores on the state tests. So what we're doing in order to help achieve that, we do have intervention time built into our schedule. Our teachers are getting some PD on our PD time on how to maximize that RTI, that intervention and reteach time, helping them work on the skills that they are struggling with, as well as focusing on the skills that they have maybe like instructional gaps on from previous years. We are looking at our benchmark data. So all of our teachers use benchmark data in both content areas, English and ELA, to create goals that they are working on between now and benchmark 2. The goals are posted in the classrooms. They've communicated the goals to the kids. It is a team effort so that they can begin to really push our students to show growth. And then ELA is the same as far as our goal. We want to be at or above state average. We need that. We can do that. We have great kids. We have good, successful, effective teachers. With structures and systems and processes in place, we'll be able to achieve that. For ELA, one of our big exciting things is we do have our reading interventionist this year, Jen, who she used benchmark data, all of our Acadians data. We did additional screeners on our K-5 students, and we've identified a good population of our tier 3 who we have 3rd graders who still don't know their sounds. So she works with the group, like she has small groups and she works with them every day during our intervention time. and she's doing that tier 3 intervention. So we're working on sounds, and we're working on letter identification with especially with our K3 students. So has an amazing system in place with progress monitoring. She's working with the classroom teachers to ensure that they have what they need to implement when she has all of their kids in their intervention time. So again, they have goals. They have individual goals for their students. We do have the new curriculum. We are really excited about it. Our teachers have dived headfirst into it. There was a little, slow with getting into the technology of the system, but everyone is in, and they're really liking the resources that are available to them. This goal deals with our attendance. The goal is that we have 92% attendance overall by the end of the year. Based on the data that I shared, hopefully, if our trend continues, we're at 93% for the month of August, so we're hoping that that continues. But it is something that we talk about. I send out information. Whenever I send out information, I always encourage teachers, remember, school starts at 8 o'clock. Attendance is important. So we've gotten a lot of response. We do send out our attendance letters, and I've gotten a lot of phone calls about parents panicking about the letters. But I don't mind those calls because it lets me have a conversation with them about how important attendance is. And it's also making sure that, if students are out and they've gone to the doctor, we could get documentation to help kind of track our chronic absentee kids. And then our last goal, we are really excited this year to be able to offer technology back onto our campus as one of our specials. It wasn't necessarily what the intention was, but we weren't able to hire a PE teacher. But as soon as we kind of said, well, we need a specialist for our students, and when we posted a technology, we got an immediate hit and got an amazingly talented, smart teacher to come in to teach technology. He's doing great. He's melding in with the staff, and the students love him. It's really cute to watch the kids get excited about going to technology. So our big goal is just to make sure that we're implementing this new program with consistency and fidelity. So we do have it aligned to ITSE standards, which are the International Technology Standards of Education, which are the standards that the Arizona Department of Education has adopted. And so we're working with him. Debbie's been working with him, and we're working to make sure that as we're going, we're identifying our scope and sequence, what needs to happen, doing everything from just safety online to skills. He's working with teachers. He really wants to be able to take what the kids are learning in class and adapt it into the technology. So if kids are doing shapes in math class, he wants to then apply that to technology where the kids are doing the same skills, so they're getting that reinforcement. So we're really excited about bringing this program in. So that's going to be one that we're working on throughout the entire year, as it's brand new to us. Any questions?
I have a question, but it's more for Debbie. Is technology now a required state thing? I know it was supposed to be, no, it was like ramping up, and then did it die again?
They're state standards, but it's not required.
Got it. Sorry, that I'm a tech nerd. You don't know that yet, but that's my day job. So
Well, if you ever have the chance to come out and see our tech
I would
lab,
love to.
you are more than welcome
I
to
would
come
absolutely love to.
see it.
Holly, I do have a question
Yeah.
on the slide with the demographic data.
Uh-huh.
But the attendance rate, I'm just curious, when I'm looking at those numbers, are those numbers like the 88, 88, 88, are those?
Those are going to be at the end of the year. So those were
Those are
like
at the end of the year.
for the
Okay.
year.
All right.
I didn't want to leave it blank, so that's why I put currently.
Okay, got it, perfect. All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody else?
I do. I have a couple. Just because you brought it up. So where are we with no PE?
So
You brought it up.
I did. I have an answer for you because I'm a very creative, innovative problem solver. So we are offering PE to students once a week, and it's so we kind of combined the kids after school, or not after school, their afternoon recess, and we shifted some timing around to give them a 30-minute structured PE time that we've been maneuvering and running for the last 4 weeks.
Is the position still posted?
So,
What was your question?
Is the position still posted?
it's not posted, and the major reason is because with our schedule wouldn't really allow us to be able to have the kids attend 3 specials a week, just because of making sure that we meet our minimum minute seat requirements for each content area, because we are kind of like maxed out, so we had to be really creative. So as you probably know, we are trying to hire a 5th grade teacher. So we've been doing, we went from not getting any interest in any applications to getting a couple applications in recently. So like I have another interview coming up on Thursday. But what we found was we have our current middle school ELA teacher is not, follow me?
Got that one.
He's not a certified English teacher, and he did it because he wants to work with kids and things like that. We interviewed someone who said, you know, I'm interested in 5th grade. All of my experience has been in middle school ELA. Teacher for 20 years in middle school ELA. He's been an administrator in a middle school. So, in working with her, she's amazing. So talked to Mr. Asher, who's the current ELA teacher.
Mm-hmm.
And so what we've done is we're kind of shifting. So we're taking Linda, who I believe is going to be on the agenda for you guys later today. So we're hiring Linda as our new middle school ELA teacher. She's a certified ELA teacher. Not only I think is she going to bring what our students need, as far as closing some of those gaps and showing some growth. I think she's going to bring a lot of kind of rigor and expectations to the entire middle school team. And then we are moving Asher into a position. It's kind of like a hybrid type position, and he's going to take over PE. So now he's going to, like right now, our Band-Aid was taking PE and having our teachers kind of co-run it. So like our K1 would run PE games together. Now we're going to be able to separate it. So we're going to have a PE teacher who is going to be able to implement Arizona PE standards with our kids in an individual class. So kindergarten will just be with kindergarten. He's not going to have kindergarten in 1st grade. So he can focus and he'll be able to plan solid concrete activities for the kids. So we have shifted some things. We're kind of being a little creative, but it's going to benefit, you know, our 85 middle school kids who are now going to get really, really good ELA dig down instruction, and the middle school team as a whole. Plus, our kids are going to get the PE that we know they desperately need and they desperately want. Hopefully.
Okay, so you still have the 5th grade position then on advertised, okay?
Yes. But
No.
I am confident about Thursday's interview.
Okay,
There
good.
you go. There you go. And this is maybe a question for you, maybe a question for our middle school teacher, and it doesn't have to be answered tonight.
Okay.
But just looking at like 8th grade math, where no one at the end of last year was proficient or highly proficient. And I understand 8th graders at the end of the year, so that may have something to do with it. My real question is, well, and maybe you already have an answer, but that, and then over to the high school, I should have said high school, Garrett, not middle school, but knowing that not one 8th grader was proficient, it'll be interesting when you come to the podium, but go ahead, did you want to address?
So that is a huge concern. Our middle school scores are, you know, coming in and seeing the scores, I'm like, we need to make some changes. Like, you know, one of the things I told our teachers, because I was very transparent with the data. They all have the data from last year, and we talked about it, and many of them are not happy with it. I'm like, I'm glad you're not happy with it, because we want to make changes, we want growth. And so one of the things I told them is our current practices result in our current scores. So let's look at what we're doing, because if we're not happy with our scores, let's look at what we're doing so that we can make the changes and adjustments. Last year, 6th grade was taught kind of like as a self-contained part of like the elementary. So it was just 7th and 8th grade, which meant our 2 middle school teachers actually taught 3 content areas. So they couldn't really focus and dig down in just one single content area. Like the math teacher was also teaching ELA, which are like the 2 big tested areas. And our other teacher was teaching math. Well, I guess they were teaching two areas. So math and ELA and science and social studies. That put a lot of pressure on our math and English teacher. So moving middle school back into the or 6th grade back into the middle school, it allowed us to have specialized teachers who can kind of really hone in and focus on that particular content area to really help push our kids.
Okay, thank you for that answer.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Just a side comment,
Yeah.
kind of back to what I said to Scott. Those kids should have been identified way before the end of the year. So something that probably needs to be kind of followed up on.
We're working really hard on very frequent progress monitoring and really utilizing data, not just our benchmark data, but like just our, consistent data that our teachers are gathering from formative assessments, and really looking at that intervention time to see what we can do so the kids aren't slipping through their cracks. Because you're absolutely right. It happened.
And just a basic question, to be considered proficient, you have to be proficient or highly proficient, right? Those 2.
Yeah.
And then every grade has a different standard, or I guess, no, that's not what I wanted to ask. The state of Arizona average, is it different in every grade level?
It's different in every grade level, and it changes every year.
Right, right, because,
So.
but it's in the, what, 30 to 40%-ish in Arizona? I mean, yeah. So in the state of Arizona overall, we're average only 30 to 40-ish% passing. Okay,
Proficient.
proficient, but that's what's considered.
Which is passing.
It's
Well,
not
not
passing.
exactly.
Yeah, and it's one test, one day.
No, I know,
Right,
I know
so
also,
it's-
yes.
yeah,
And
so
they change the test
they change
all the time.
Yeah, and they're,
And they change what they're testing every year. Yes, I get it.
All right, thank you, Holly.
Thank
Oh,
you.
wait,
Keep
Ron's
you on your
got a
toes,
question.
you know? Can't teach the test. You got,
It's awful.
cover the gambit.
It's ridiculous.
You have something for Holly?
No,
Okay. Thanks,
I
Holly.
just had a smart aleck
Appreciate
comment,
it.
that's all.
No, I agree with you. All right, now we've got the Wickenburg High School and Mr. Garrett Mayer.
Good evening, Board President Malio, Dr. Remendini, members of the board, members of the Wickenburg community. It is my pleasure to be in front of you to share a little bit about where we're going at Wickenburg High School. I'll echo some of the sentiments from our other principals. For me, it really is not about, it's easy to overestimate one defining moment when you're trying to change things for the better, and underestimate small iterative changes and positive changes along the way. And that's truly what we're focused on with the goals and things that I'll share with you, is those small daily, 1% better every day is really, kind of been our mantra among our staff, that we're really just trying to make small positive changes so that when we look back at the end of the year and the end of future years, we are hopeful to achieve some of these goals. So with that said, I have the pleasure of, in a moment to introduce Colleen Peterson for Wickenburg Virtual Academy. For the start of the presentation, we'll focus in on Wickenburg High School. And I do have my slides here in front of me, so apologies for looking down. I checked with Holly and Carissa. We do not have the same prescription. My glasses are in my office. I apologize. And I think, once we get to the data slides, I was just a little nervous. So I was like, I'm going to have it in front of me here. But with that said, for our school, truthfully, when we look at kind of the comprehensive needs assessment, the goal is that there's no decision about us without us, right? And so when we're looking at improvement, we want to make sure that every voice is heard in that. And so, the fortunate piece for me stepping in is that a good amount of that comprehensive needs assessment work was done in the spring prior to me being here, right? And so they were very mindful, which I appreciate a ton, to make sure to include students, include parents, include teachers, and include the administrative team to really make sure that we had a full view, if you will, of what goes on at school, and it really kind of set a good, or rather gave us good information to help us set some goals, for this year. So with that said, our vision at Wickenburg High School is truly in itself, and that's all kind of a long-winded way of saying we're just trying to create a great and vibrant school community, and putting community at the forefront really, I think, supports and pays dividends on everything else we're trying to achieve, from academic performance to behavioral performance to really, as it says there, making sure that kids have the knowledge and skills they need to do whatever they're going to do after high school, right? Whether that is enroll in education, whether it's enlist, whether it's be employed, whatever they're trying to do, we want to make sure that they're leaving our school with the tools that they need to get there. One thing that we have started this year that I do want to share is what we call the Wickenburg Way. And that is take the reins, learn the ropes, build your brand, and enjoy the ride. And that is both for our teachers and for our students. And so when we talk about take the reins, we're really saying, own your space, right? Like own your behaviors, like own everything that you do. For kids especially, take ownership over your preparation for whatever your what's next is, right? Wherever you're trying to go, now's the time to take ownership over that plan. Second piece, right, learn the ropes, really is about achieving high academic and behavioral expectations, right? And for staff, we're trying to show them the ropes, right? And trying to make sure that we're really engaging them in conversations and in lessons that help them achieve those next steps. The third, and one of my favorite ones, because it was the hardest to come up with a small little pun for, which is build your brand, which is really, we're focused more on who we want to be than what we have to do, right? It's easy to create a to-do list. It's much harder to create a to-be list, right? And that's where we're focused, with our staff and with our students, of really, who do you want to be, right? You've got all this stuff to do. You've got all these classes to do. Who do you want to be, right, ultimately at the tail end of this journey and as you go out into the world? And the last piece, and I would say the most important piece, is we're here to create positive experiences for kids, right? And our goal is that the experience that kids have at Wickenburg High School is one where they truly get to enjoy the ride, and that teachers are having a good experience and teachers are, valuing and enjoying their time there just as much as our kids are. All right. Jumping into some demographic data, I did, which is not super helpful for all of you because all your backs are to it, but I did point out a couple of things that are in some boxes there. But I do want to point out a couple demographic pieces that caught our eye as we were compiling some of this information. One, our enrollment is at 382, and so you can kind of see kind of a steady decline over the last 5 years, but we're excited to have the kids we do. Our dropout rate is one that I'd like to acknowledge. So if you're in the second to last column, about 5 rows down, a decrease from 3.17% down to 0.7%. A lot of that work was done both by the district office, by our registrar, to really work to identify what happened to these students that disappeared for some reason, right? And whether that was that they moved, whether it was they, in the truest sense of the word, dropped out of school. Some of them went online, but for a time, to my knowledge, right, that there was a time where we didn't quite know some of them. And when those get tagged as such, right, kind of a big question mark, it impacts our dropout rate, right? And so really putting in a lot of work to make sure that we were tracking those kids down, tracking those families down, to make sure we knew where they were going, which helps our dropout rate. The last two pieces I want to highlight is all the way to the right. So for this year in our free and reduced lunch, and you can kind of see over the last 5 years, have steadily increased. From 5 years ago to now, we've more than doubled in terms of students and families that qualify for free and reduced lunch. And then the last one I want to share is on the EL side, and I'll share some goals kind of related to both of these things, but On the EL side, a jump from about 3% to 11% as well. So serving students who are English language learners and really kind of making sure that as we're going through our lessons, they have some targeted instruction during the day. They have their regular instruction for English during the day, but a big jump that we are really working hard to make sure that those students are making strides in because we have so many. All right.
Garrett, is breakfast free at the high school?
It is yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
any
Yes,
student,
yeah.
any family that qualifies for free or reduced
Right.
Yep.
eats both breakfast and lunch if they choose it. So
Okay.
there is no cost even if they only qualified for reduced
Got it.
one more year.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. That was my follow-up to your question. So I appreciate that. On any other questions on just demographic?
But not free for everyone,
Yeah.
just,
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. All right. So moving forward into some ACT and ACT Aspire data, the first thing that I want to share with you is on the left-hand columns for ACT, so our juniors take the ACT, those are listed as average scores, right? And so once they get to the ACT, it's an average score that we are sharing with you here. On the right-hand side is percent proficient. And the reason that we do that is this, is their freshman year, they take that ACT Aspire. We're sharing the percent proficient because the ACT Aspire is to give us data and to give you information about what percentage of students are on track to do well on the ACT in a couple of years. And so on the left-hand side is the scores themselves, right? So these students on the right, let's say 25% of them score well in reading. We should see hopefully improvement by the time they get to that ACT score in that raw score. A couple that I'd like to share with you, and you'll see some of our goals are related to this. In ELA, there was a drop from 16 on the dot to 13.7 from the 23-24 to the 24-25 school year. And so with that said, some of our ELA goals are related to focusing in on that because of that drop. The second piece I want to share with you is on reading as well. So on the right-hand side for ACT Aspire, our freshmen in 23-24, 20% of them were proficient. Our freshmen in 24-25, 25% were proficient. While that is an increase, it is actually a decrease in the number of kids. So if you see at the top there, 114 were tested in 23-24, 81 were tested in 24-25. It's a difference of about 2 students. However, overall, we are 5% above, right? Of the students that are tested, still an increase of 5% in that data, which we felt good about. So, all right. On to our mathematics goals. So our goals are organized, 1 mathematics, 2 ELA, and then 2 additional goals. For these goals, we're really, again, as I said, focused on growth, right? And focused on where we are and where we're going. With that said, our goals are these. So after benchmark 3, so in February 2026, our students in all math classes, Algebra 1, Geometry, and Algebra 2, they'll take their 3rd benchmark in February. They've taken 1 already right at the start. They'll take another one, and then they'll take a 3rd. At that 3rd, our goal is that 80% or more of our students enrolled in math at all state tested levels will demonstrate growth, right? Our goal is that when we look at that data, over 80% are growing, right? Across the year, they've been in school about 7 months at that point. Our goal is that they've grown. Our second goal is increasing the number of 11th grade students at or above the state average on the ACT exam in comparison with 24-25. In 24-25, about 35% of our students that tested were at or above state level. With that said, again, our goal is above 35 moving into this year with the students that are tested. A little bit of what I was talking about with ACT Aspire. ACT Aspire helps us gauge the students that are on track to do well based on how they do their freshman year. That'll tell us if they're on track to do well for the ACT in a couple years. So number 3 there is increase the number of on-track scores in math for 9th grade on the ACT Aspire. Again, on track indicates that students are likely to perform well on the ACT. And then the last piece, which is based on some data last year, there was a pretty significant number of students that failed one or both semesters of Algebra 1. And so one of our goals for this year as well is to increase the pass rate for 9th grade students in Algebra 1 through review of the Algebra 1 curriculum, which that collaborative team is working on, and through some vertical alignment as well to make sure that as students are working their way through math courses, it is logical and progressive, and it builds on the learning they've done in their previous courses.
Was 9th grade in Algebra 1 last year where we lost a teacher?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Yep.
How many 8th graders do we have at Vulture Peak coming to the high school for Algebra 1?
10,
10.
and then 3 for
Geometry?
Yeah. I think the total number is 13, and I believe, it's 10 and 3.
Good, thank you.
Yep. One thing I will share too on the math side is we dove pretty deep this year for kind of the first time, to my knowledge, into our first benchmark data. And one thing that's been important to me moving forward that doesn't necessarily appear in here is making sure that we are offering high-level classes for students that are there, right? Students that are showing that they are performing well on benchmark 1 should have an opportunity to take an honors course and things like that. That's something that is near and dear to me. Based on our data from this year, especially for Algebra 1, we did have a large number of students that, based on kind of that data review, could have created a honors Algebra 1 class, and so that's definitely our goal moving forward, is making sure that we are ready for that and responding to that data. And when we are getting our 8th graders in and looking at their scores, we're working to identify students and working with families to create kind of that honors track. For ELA, for this year, after benchmark 3, similar to the math goal, our goal is that 80% of students in English 1, 2, and 3 have shown growth in ELA. That would be reading and writing, as well as kind of the standard ELA tested is on conventions and grammar and things like that. But all in all, our goal is that 80% of students grow between benchmark 1 and 3. Our second goal is increase the number of 11th grade students at or above the state average on the ACT exam in ELA reading and in writing in comparison with 24-25. And then the last, similar to the math one as well, is on ACT Aspire. We want to have an increased number of kids that perform on track to do well on the ACT their junior year based on how they perform their freshman year on the ACT Aspire. And our last two goals, I think, are the most important because they pay, it's the most bang for your buck. When kids are there to learn, when we're setting attendance goals, you can't teach kids that aren't there, right? And school culture goals, when kids are enjoying their experience, things tend to go a whole lot better academically. With that, the last two goals, one is WHS will increase the student attendance rate to 83% overall or higher. That's a 5% increase from last year. Right now, right this second, because I realized I did that data last week and I was like, I want it to the day. Right now, we are sitting at about 92.3%. So for this year, we are already on track to do better, much better than we were last year. And I think some of the things I'll talk about in a second have supported that. The second one is last year we had on our parent survey, 60% of parents rated it at an A or B, 40% rated it at a C or below. So our goal for this year is that 75% will rate it at an A or B. And our goal, truthfully, moving forward, will end up being 100%, right? We want everyone, right, to rate it at least at a B moving forward. And our hope is that we're working with families, on things that come up, on issues, on, academic interventions to really make sure that the experience is a good one, not only for students, but also for families. Excuse me. A few key action steps that kind of, in a way, support all these goals. The first is collaborative team meetings within our professional learning community. And so a collaborative team may be all of the teachers who teach Algebra 1, it might be the math department as a whole, but ultimately we ask our teachers to meet at the very least bi-weekly in those collaborative teams to focus in on curriculum, focus in on planning interventions, focus in on data and discovery, really getting at the heart of how are kids performing and what are we doing about The second piece, that's something that we've implemented this year, is 4 days a week. We have fifth period, and fifth period is a 36-minute block instead of the hour block. Right now we're in a class rotation for that, so every Monday is advisory, and then every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, students have additional time for one of their classes. And so through that, teachers are able to say, you know, okay, I know that whoever it is, right? I know that Garrett missed a test on Monday, but I know that I'll see my first hour on Thursday, right? So I'm going to make sure that I have that test ready for him. And now I think, as you were talking about, Sandy, earlier, the level of immediacy, right, of making sure that we're providing interventions in a timely manner will help support that student's academic success. So teachers are able to plan for an additional piece of instructional time each week with their classes, and kids are too, right? We had a great example the other day. Kids missed a quiz. They were absent, excused absence. The following day, they had a 6-hour class rotation. They had no worry in the world because they knew that their teacher was going to have that prepared for them the following day. Third there, before and after school academic support is offered through the 21st Century Learning Grant. In addition, our teachers with their contracted time are also asked to be available for tutoring as well. With that said, the availability of that, along with the tutor bus that runs, has really provided us a lot of support in providing some academic interventions. We are very fortunate to have teachers that are willing to give their time to that program. The reason I say that is we have support for every content area available to kids after school and all but one before school. Which, again, I feel like a lot of schools can't say. So I'm proud of that for sure. Fourth there, the Wrangler Roundup is a bi-weekly newsletter. That is a great opportunity to kind of inform our parents of things that are going on. I've included a couple different sections in there. One of my favorites is the road ahead, which is, here are some sore spots, here's how we're working on them, and here's how you as a parent and student can support. Second to last there is our site council. We had our first meeting this last month, really focused in on the high school experience for teachers, for staff, for teachers, for parents, and most importantly for kids, and drove a lot of great conversation around what we want this experience to be and what actions can we take to get us there. And the last one related to attendance is attendance improvement truly is case by case. And so we have been working very hard with our counselors, with our leadership team, and with our teachers to make sure that we have a touch point with all 19 kids who are already experiencing significant absences, to make sure that we know their story and that we're able to provide support where needed. That, to me, has, I think, paid dividends in terms of our support of families. And again, the connection is at the heart of great schools, right? And so it's important to us to connect with those families and make sure that we are there to listen and there to provide any interventions and support that we can to make sure their kids are getting there to receive their education. With that said, before I turn it over to Ms. Peterson for Wickenburg Virtual Academy, what questions can I answer for you?
I have one concerning the parent survey. Just quickly, I believe I'm correct in saying that we have a new parent survey this year. And
We will.
we will. So we don't have it yet.
No,
Okay.
it will go, it usually goes out right around fall break.
Okay, but it's a new format,
platform.
new one, because I was going to just ask how is that going, but we'll know later. I just wondered if it was having more of a more people. That's what I'm hoping for. It's just more people being able to fill it out so we can get that feedback.
Yeah.
So, thank you.
Absolutely.
Is it sent out in English and Spanish?
Thank you.
I just want to say, Garrett, there's a lot of positive feedback in you as the new principal at the high school.
Appreciate that.
And I appreciate what I see going on there as different from last year, just having a student there.
Appreciate that very much. Thank you, Ms. Foster.
Ron, anything from you?
I'm good.
All right.
Thank you very
Garrett,
much.
appreciate it.
And I'll bring up Ms. Peterson for Wickenburg Virtual Academy.
Good evening. We'll
Good
make
evening.
this short and sweet,
Mm.
as always. So Wickenburg Virtual Academy represents grades 4th through 12th grade, but most of the information I'm going to cover tonight will just be the high school because that's the bulk of the students that we serve. And so I'm going to go right into our demographics. So we've stayed consistent with our enrollment over the last 2 years, still continuing to serve WHS and Vulture Peak with some concurrent enrollments for students that need different classes to meet graduation requirements, or like at Vulture Peak, they're taking advanced courses. So we still have our concurrent on top of our full-time population. The biggest thing that shocked me when I went to do this data this year is when I pulled our graduation rate, which I put an asterisk by, and it said 57%. And I immediately called Debbie and I'm like, Debbie, what is wrong with this? Talk me off the edge. This cannot be accurate. Because I was freaking out. So anyway, Debbie led me in the right direction, and I met with Jeremy Corliss, and the state report had errors in it. So he and I sat down and we went through, and there were some students that had graduated that were not reported correctly, or students that had transferred during that cohort that were not reported correctly. So Jeremy is correcting that information with the state, but at the earliest, maybe November, we'll see an actual correct graduation rate. So that will change. And when you're talking 1 or 2 students out of, 35 or whatever, that's a significant change. So we're optimistic that that number will be significantly better in the future. So thank you to Jeremy for putting the time in to do that.
How many seniors do you have right now?
Seniors right now, I only have 10. Yeah, but in the spring, that's where we see our significant increase as they start to transition into adulthood and not necessarily want to be on campus anymore. And that's why you always see from August to May, our enrollment goes up, and it's almost always seniors that make that jump. Okay. Then I'm going to jump to our Aspire and our ACT data. And so Dr. Remendini and I had a conversation about this, and then Garrett and I had a conversation about this. And some of the data, because like Garrett explained, percentage is Aspire's measuring those 9th graders that are proficient or highly proficient. And then ACT typically uses a cut score, and I reported percentages of the students that met that course cut score. So sorry for the confusion on that. So I can resend that information for you on our ACT of how many students met the cut score, which was 3 of the 7 that we tested last year met that cut score. And so that's not a significant number of students that meet that cut score, but again, ACT is a pulse check of students that are career ready. And so we're not using that as an exclusive data point, but just a pulse check of where our juniors are prior to going into their senior year. And then another piece of confusion that I'll clarify, and I'll jump to that real quick, is how our cut scores moved up. And so while we didn't have more students meet that cut score, the mean score increased in all of our testing in our math and our ELA. And so we felt that that was growth with our students, that our average mean increased from 2024 to 2025 for our ACT testing. And then our AZ-Sci, we went from 23 of the students passing to 50% of the students passing, which seems significant, but again, we're talking about 6 students. So numbers can be misleading, but we did show growth in our AZ-Sci testing and our ACT testing.
Who takes the AZ-Sci?
For our students, 11th graders, 8th graders, and 5th graders. Last year, I tested 6 11th graders and 2 8th graders.
But we don't have those numbers for Wickenburg High School.
I believe they were included in part of your report, your AZ-Sci. I believe they were.
I'll go back and look for it.
So you're just looking at the 11th graders. Okay. And crazily enough, you'll see an ACT science score because ACT also tests science, but then
I did see that.
There's an AZ-Sci test as well. So we're going to double whammy them in science. So, questions so far on some of those numbers and confusion in percentages versus the means?
It's a lot of numbers.
It is a lot of numbers.
My head hurts.
But it's really neat that how big of a jump
For sure.
it was for ELA and math.
And again, when you're testing 7 students, and I can tell you, for me, what's neat is I can tell you the names of the students and the growth that they showed, you know, from some of them I had as 9th graders and then as 11th graders, and the academic growth that I've seen in them. Again, because we're so small, I know exactly who we're talking about, and I like to see that growth in them. So I'll go back to our math goal. So when we talk as a staff about setting goals, obviously we don't have attendance goals because our attendance is reported differently. We look at how many kids are we getting to pass a class the first time. Because to graduate high school, they may have to take geometry 3 times before they get it to graduate. So we want to look at when kids can pass a class the first time. And we've seen a steady increase in the percentages of our students passing classes the first time. So our math goal, we set that 85% of our WVA students would demonstrate personal growth and pass the required math courses. And by that, we mean on the first time. We want them to be successful that first time. And so 2 years ago, we were at a 77% pass rate. Last year, we were at an 81% pass rate. And so I increased it to 85%, pushing more students to be able to pass math on the first time. And if you've ever taken an online math class, it is challenging no matter how good you are in math. So I'm proud of the students as they're navigating through geometry and algebra 2, and navigating it and then reaching out for help to their math teacher, Mrs. Jones. So kudos to those kids, because I don't know that I could do algebra 2 online. So,
I've seen it firsthand this year.
yes,
It's
ma'am.
a lot.
Yes.
It's a lot.
I do want to say that I'm very appreciative that the teachers in general, but specifically the math teacher, makes herself very much available to the students when they hit a snag in the online program where they can get that one-to-one tutoring.
Yes,
I'm
for sure.
very excited about that.
Yeah, and that's just, you know, a teacher caring about her students being successful, which I am super appreciative because I could not tutor math. So props to our math teacher. And so we also set the same goal, 85% for our ELA. Traditionally, we've done better in ELA, so that's going to be a smaller margin of growth, but still we want to push more students passing those English classes the first time they take them online. And so a lot of that comes down to weekly. We're targeting those kids, we're reaching out to those kids. If you haven't had a chance to come in our lab and meet Mrs. Morales, our lab coach, she really is pushing in on those kids with Google Meets, with calling parents. And so we have several touch points throughout the block to make sure our students have every tool available to them to pass these classes the first time that they take them. Okay. Yes, sir.
I have a question on your schedule. I know you had some that were on the 9-week, whatever, you know. But some of them you said you did last year you changed some to
Algebra 1.
Was that what it was?
And we changed Algebra 1 to 18 weeks because the first time we tried it in a block, students were not successful. They needed more time to process those Algebra 1 concepts. And so when we changed it last year to just Algebra 1 being 18 weeks, we saw more students pass Algebra 1 the first time as 8th graders.
So, but are you still on the same schedule now?
Yes, yes,
okay.
we are. And then this year, the other class, which I didn't report, is pre-calc, because we have some juniors and seniors taking pre-calc. And last year, again, when those students took it in a 9-week block, we ended up doing an extension on that class because pre-calc was super challenging to do in 9 weeks, even though, you know, they're smart kids. But so this year we did the pre-calc, and now they're doing it on an 18-week block as well.
Thank you.
And so your full-time students are doing 9-week or 18-week blocks, but the concurrent ones are doing
18 weeks.
Oh, the 18
because
weeks.
I'm sorry. Concurrent means they're taking it outside of their full-day schedule. They, our high school students are doing it on a 9-week block because those students need additional credits to graduate. So we've got to continue to offer them more classes. Our 7th graders are doing 18-week. And then any student at the high school that's taking it as part of their day, the honors classes are 18 weeks because that's their schedule. Anything else?
Thanks, Colleen.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
All right, that concludes our school improvement plans. We're going to take a quick break.
Quick break, please.
I'm going to call this meeting to order at 6:49 PM, September 16th, 2025. If you'll join me with the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of
the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amen.
Thank you. We can get an adoption of this agenda, please.
I'll make a motion to adopt the agenda for September 16th, 2025 as submitted.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Excuse me. Pepper cheese is not a good idea when you're going to speak.
Huh. Do you need water?
Okay, so first item of business is recognitions, proclamations. Anybody on the board have anything that they want to share, recognize?
I'd just like to say that I was at Festival Foothill volleyball last week, and we may need more bleachers there. Just saying. It was a packed house and standing room only, and that was exciting to see. So kudos to the Festival Foothill community and parents, and also to the other team, of course, but we might need more bleachers.
That's great. I would just like to congratulate our girls volleyball team for having such a great year. Really proud of them. And I just want to say this. I realize that our poor little football team is playing way out of their league. But God bless them all for being out there. And we need to be kind. We need to say nice things.
Okay. Susan?
Sandy kind of stole my thunder. I got to go to the varsity volleyball, girls volleyball last week at the high school, and what a great group of girls. They're very positive and uplifting while they're playing. It's so fun to watch them. You know, great coaches working with them. It was really fun. And then, for the football team, there was a good crowd there, and it was, they're young, they're small, and it's sad to see them put in a division that might be too big for them. So we hope that changes next year, and we hope that we don't get any more injuries, because I think
Did
most
they
of our
jump
seniors
back
and
up from last year? No, it was the
No.
same one? Okay.
3A. So yeah, our most of our seniors and juniors are injured right now and not able to play, which, but it was good to see the community still supporting them, and the families and the parents, even of the injured kids there, to support the team.
Ron, anything?
I just, like to thank all of our principals that came and presented their school improvement plans, but the positive impacts that they seem to be having in their schools already, so.
I forgot one.
Speaking of steal your thunder, that's exactly what I was going to say. Anyway,
There you go.
all right.
Great minds and all that, you know.
That's right.
I forgot one. I was talking about the football team, but I forgot the cheerleaders. And they were so good. And they're a big group this year, and they're together, and it's really neat. And they danced at halftime, and it was awesome. And don't tell my daughter, I forgot her.
Don't worry, she heard it.
Yeah, she wasn't listening. It's good.
She's doing homework.
Dr. Remendini.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Malio. I wanted to shout out congratulations to Mr. Clint Bushbaum, who is our CTE coordinator director, whatever his title is at Wickenburg High School. He was named the Arizona Council of Occupational Vocational Administrators August Administrator of the Month. That's a big deal. I want to recognize the 25 high school students who were able to go on a tour to NAU and Flagstaff as part of CTE and JAG field trip that was approved at the meeting before, and they got to go. And Ms. Willis provided a really good update about the kids. Many of them had never been on a college campus before, and NAU is the perfect campus to visit. So happy they got to go. And then just today, and I hope this is breaking news, so I hope it's accurate because I haven't heard that they made it back. But congratulations to our Vulture Peak Middle School Students Who Care program. They were able to attend the annual Speak Up, Stand Up, Save a Life conference today. And they actually spoke at the conference. You'll recall that these students won a state award. They actually won it at the conference last year, but then they added on. They were the organization was so impressed with what they did, they kept adding it on. So they got to go there today and accept their award. And Garrett, I'm going to look at you and make sure they went, because a lot of them were 8th graders last year in high school. So they went and they were ready to go. But they were a little nervous about speaking in front of 1,500 people.
Wow.
So congratulations to them. And they would like to come back and give an update to the board on their work in a month coming up at our board
Perfect.
meeting.
Would love it. They were so
Love it.
wonderful.
That's it.
That's it.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. I should have ended.
Perfect. All right, so now we've got our call to the public, and I've got two. And the first one is Art Rubash. First 2.5 minutes.
Thanks, Superintendent, Joe, President, and School Board. Thanks for letting me talk again. It was nice presentation I heard. It's really encouraging to hear what's going on with our schools and for us to be involved. I liked what you guys all talked about. You guys all talked about sports. Every one of you talked about sports, which is pretty important because what we're talking about tonight is ESA and homeschool kids playing sports. So I'm glad you guys touched that. I had a really nice conversation with Ms. Remendini. My goal is to get kids to come to our school because I'm pro high school, I'm pro school. I want them to be, our kids. There's no reason that the charter school kids can't come to Colleen Peterson's class. So that's my mission, is to educate the ones that are going to the JML or what other online schools and to bring them here. Now, with the homeschool kids that we're talking about tonight, if they are not receiving ESA money, they're allowed to participate on our dime, school board dime, right? So if we receive ESA money, it's a district policy to welcome them, correct? So if they're not receiving it, they can come play whatever sport they want, state law. Every kid is insured on their own, from what I understand, and if they're not, it's a school responsibility to insure the kids, even if they're homeschooled or not. So with that being said, ESA kids want to come play sports. That's what that ESA money's for. It's to pay their way for the school to participate. So take that money if you want. I think it's really important that you guys use that money because these kids are truly homeschooled. They're not going to ever come to the school, but by state law they're allowed. So here's your chance to make some money off them, get your fair worth. Then hopefully we can recruit and turn them around. So take whatever that money is, whatever the number it is, let it out there. ESA gets 90% of district money. My kid gets $7,500 a year, which is 90% of what the district gets. Okay? So take that money, use it for insurance. If you're worried about a kid throwing a bat over the thing and hitting a car, take that money and get insurance on that kid. That's what it's there for. That'll take care of all the liability. Any liability that you guys are worried about, use that ESA money, take it, spend it, so there's no worries. It's a good tool for us. We're talking about a handful of kids. The charter school kids, I totally get that. Let's work on getting them here, using our programs. We don't have to worry about it. But the homeschool kids that receive the ESA money, it's a tool for us to use. It's a tool for the school boards. It's a tool for the parents to use that money. So I really, really think that it's a win-win. There's nothing negative about it. There's no negative about letting homeschool kids that have never been to public school a chance to participate in anything, theater, football, baseball, choir, whatever. It's our chance to take some of that money, make it. If you're really worried about not, getting funded, here's our chance. It's a win. There's no negative into it. It's a positive for the kids, and it's a positive for the school board. So I really wish you guys would think about that and make your decision based on, hey, presentation for the high school principal, which I haven't met yet. Community, he's talking about our community. This is our community. These kids are our community. So if you want to build a community with the brand that you're building, this is how you do it. You invite all the kids in that are eligible and make a case for them and use that money and just let them play and let them do whatever they want.
Thanks, sir. Appreciate it. Casey, don't be shy. All right, our second speaker is Tanya Forbrook.
I just put one in just in case.
Okay. You're good. Okay. Now you don't have to get rambunctious. No bells.
It doesn't get loud.
All right. Appreciate that. And now we're into our consent agenda. Does anybody need anything pulled from the consent agenda before we take action? Hearing none, we can entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda items for September 16th, 2025 as submitted.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Action items, 5A. We are for the request for approval of financial reports presented by Executive Director of Business Services, Mr. James Scott.
Thank you, Mr. President, board members. You have in your board packet the August 25 business report. As you can see, our year-to-date expenses are around, actually a little bit less than what they were in the prior year for both M&O and capital. Our unique expenses over $10,000 was we paid Gentech EDU $43,000. They come to campuses and provide technology instruction to our students and technology tools. Borderland, $17,762. This is for a communication school classes, communication system that the technology uses. And then Imagine Learning, $11,500. That's an instructional aid that's online resource. Our compliance that we completed in August was we did certify our National School Lunch Program. We did submit our state facilities capital board report, and we submitted our state grant completion reports for fiscal year 25. So as you can see, our budget is in balance. We are in compliance, and there were no surprises. We did have a board question I'd like to address, and that was on the vouchers. It says Fund 521 preschools and Fund 523 HES preschools. Those differences are, in 521 is actually the Festival Foothills preschool program. So some predecessor to mine years ago just named that preschool programs instead of festival. So that's the difference. One's festival, one's Hacienda.
Okay, so is there a reason we can't change it?
There's no reason we can't change it. It's already on my list for Mrs. Bergman to work on tomorrow.
Yeah, I just think it would make it, it would clarify it.
Yeah, my suspect is maybe festival started their preschool first, and then when Hacienda opened, they just called it Hacienda to differentiate. But yeah, we can definitely change it. It's just an internal naming.
I know,
Okay.
but then
It's
that way
confusing.
there's no confusion.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else have questions for James? No? Hearing none, we can entertain that motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the financial reports as submitted.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Thank you. Thanks, James. Appreciate it. All right, item 5B, first reading of our policy advisories. You can see the whole list of those there. Anybody have any discussion on those at this point? Okay, beautiful. All right, action item 5C is request approval of the motion to approve the practice of not allowing Wickenburg Unified School District for the ESA. Well, you can see it, it's a whole paragraph.
I will make a motion to approve the practice of not allowing Wickenburg Unified School District students utilizing Arizona State Empowerment Scholarship Account funds to participate in district athletics or activities, with the exception of any student who has been named to participate in fall 2025 sports teams or activities.
Second.
Did you second? Okay. So the motion that was made, you probably heard it, but I'm going to help. It's the motion to approve the practice of not allowing Wickenburg Unified School District students utilizing Arizona State Empowerment Scholarship Account, ESA, funds to participate in district athletics or activities, with the exception of any student who has been named to participate in fall 2025 sports teams or activities. Any discussion on this?
Yes. We had us a study session last week. Obviously, we got a lot of information, and I just kind of put together some of that information as to why I would like to propose something different. So I just wanted to kind of talk through that a little bit. If we could, as a group, to kind of talk about what we learned last week, because we didn't, we learned it, we didn't have a discussion overall. ESA students are part of our local community. Obviously, we've talked about this a lot. These students often seek opportunities to engage with their peers through athletic and extracurricular programs, fostering social development, teamwork, discipline, and community engagement. And currently, ESA students are not permitted to participate in these programs through WUSD schools. We learned last week that WUSD receives approximately $6,900 per student from the state to cover educational services for enrolled students. However, we also saw that in fiscal year 2024, the Wickenburg School District spent over $14,000 per student. So that's an $8,000 difference in what we actually received versus what we had to spend, reflecting a significant gap between the state funding and the district's actual cost of providing education services. Right now we have a carryover. How long will the carryover last if we're continuing to spend more than we actually receive from the state? While ESA families receive a portion of state funds to educate their children elsewhere, the exact calculation methods remain unclear and inconsistent. And I want to note that because if we as a district are receiving $6,900, but students that are ESAs in this district are receiving more than that, then it's clearly not a 90%, and there's somewhere where the numbers are incorrect. And I'd like to see that worked through as a potential future item for us to figure out why is it that the state's not giving our district 100% versus what ESA students in this community are actually receiving, my younger child being one of those. Allowing ESA students to pay a reasonable fee to participate in extracurricular programs would provide a way to recapture a portion of that state funding into district programs without increasing the district's enrollment burden or classroom sizes. These fees could help supplemental operational costs, enhance program sustainability, but since we lack complete and verifiable data on how many ESA students might be impacted by this proposal, despite efforts to obtain this information, and that's something that Barbara, you and I discussed, where you were not able to get the information on how many students we have in the area that are ESA. We know that it was a small amount last year that participated in our sports. However, we do know how many students transferred from WUSD in prior years to ESA programs. So looking at what those numbers were, 68 left the school district at the end of Q4 fiscal year 2024, 104 left the school district Q4 2025. So how do we potentially get these students back? Several sports and activities within the districts have also experienced lower than usual participation numbers this year, further supporting, I think, a need to explore ways to strengthen our program engagement and sustainability. I know that I just shared a lot of information. A lot of that is just what I captured and put together from last week's discussion. I truly believe that this isn't a huge burden on us to give it a try. I don't understand why we wouldn't want to try it for the purposes of building community, number one, but also to potentially bring back some of those students who left over the last few years. It would give us an opportunity to really see how many could we possibly get back with our students that are in these public schools. I mean, I've considered it with Terrence after the discussions that we've had over the last few weeks. Obviously there's a lot more to, come to, but I would like to propose something different. Obviously, if you guys want to help go along, you have things to provide here. I want your input, and I want your help here. I do feel like we could allow ESA students residing within the district to participate in middle and high school extracurricular programs, provided they adhere to conditions. And these are some of the conditions that Barbara mentioned last week. Rule compliance. So ESA students must comply with the same eligibility requirements, codes of conduct, and academic standards that apply to enrolled WUSD students participating in the same activities. A fee structure where ESA students will pay a reasonable participation fee for each activity or sport to be determined annually by the WUSD athletic director and or activities directors based on the actual cost to the district for the operation of those programs. So this may include uniform and equipment usage, transportation if applicable. I know transportation was split out last week from the overall monies we were spending on athletics. Coaching and staffing expenses, facilities and maintenance use, obviously to be determined by the district, but again, participation fees that could help go towards some of these costs that again are above and beyond what we're receiving from the state. Capacity and priority, so obviously WUSD enrolled students would retain first priority for placement in any activity with limited space. ESA student participation will be allowed on a space available basis. And then liability and insurance, we talked about parents and guardians of ESA students could sign necessary waivers and provide proof of insurance and or agree to cover any liabilities. Barbara, you talked about being able to submit those students, I don't know what specifically where to, but for liability purposes. And then number 5 I had was residency verification. So ESA students must provide proof of residency within the Wickenburg Unified School District boundaries to be eligible for participation. So there would be 5 different rules. It's complicated matter, right? It's not a simple thing. If we say, hey, let's try it out, those are the 5 big things. I don't know if anybody else has an opinion or wants to discuss if that's even an option.
Any other discussion on what Susan brought up?
And I'm not, I could be wrong, but we don't really receive funding for athletics, specifically for athletics, correct? And one of the statements you made is that these kids have left and are ESA, and none of them have come back. So
We don't know who has come back. We don't know who has left. We don't know the actual numbers. Barbara, were you able to get anything from the Department of Ed on the numbers?
The Arizona Department of Ed is supposed to have a list of students residing in our school district that are on the ESA program, but they cannot do that because the numbers are too high and there's a rolling date for it. What I said we couldn't find numbers on were the number of students who were always homeschooled and had a homeschool affidavit and now have an ESA. But nobody has those numbers.
And we don't have any numbers of where the ones that left went.
Right. But we don't know how many are, I mean, we could get enrollment numbers for how many are at the Christian Academy, right? Versus and we could get enrollment numbers from JML to see how many are there. Those are charter schools that wouldn't be eligible under this rule as well.
Karen?
And if I may, I'm not sure the number that is out there is important to what we're voting necessarily on tonight. The number of students that we're necessarily talking about. It's a kind of a board position on the way the motion was read. And so I'm not sure the number is what I'm searching or that we should be.
Yeah, I think there was some question that how many are going to come flooding to just do sports and stay on ESA, right? We had 7 last year in the spring at the high school. That's, 7 that might want an opportunity to play sports again in the spring because they were involved last year. That's 7 we wouldn't have necessarily if we don't try it out. There may be more that come forward, do sports, and then choose to come back to public schools. We don't know. I'm proposing that we give it the opportunity and see how it goes. And if it's not a good fit, and if things don't go well, and if it is a problem, but it's an opportunity for us to get some funds back to the district that were delegated ESA, if we allow them with a participation fee, right? It's an opportunity to get some funds back that we don't get because they're not public school students. Maybe not get it back, but get it because we don't get it now, right?
Does anybody want to second that amendment? Okay, we're gonna vote on the first motion that got motion made and seconded. All in favor of that motion?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Aye. 3-2. So that motion carries. All right, items for future agendas.
I would like to potentially have something, Barbara, and this may not need to be an agenda item, but something to look at the monies that we're getting from the state compared to what ESA families are getting, because according to the state, we're getting as an ESA parent, you're getting 90% of what the school district gets per student. And that's not accurate if we looked at your numbers from last week.
I would like to add for a future agenda that I attended the law conference on behalf of the school board, and I appreciate that you allowed me to do that, and I was a delegate for the board. I would like to be able to report at some future time, just a quick report of what I learned at the conference and what the materials that are available. I want to provide links to everyone else concerning all the topics that they covered.
Do you have room in the upcoming agenda maybe for that?
It doesn't have to be the next meeting. I just want heads up.
Yeah, I think after we talk tomorrow about future
Okay.
coming agenda, but probably November.
That would be
or
fine.
December.
That'd be fine.
All right, thank you. Anybody else for future agendas? Announcements and calendar?
I just want to verify December, our meeting is earlier. I'm not sure when our December meeting is, and I'm gonna need to know that.
It says December 9th on our calendar. Is that correct?
Is that correct?
Principal reports, possible budget revision.
On 12/9. What? Okay, I just am making some plans. I need to verify that. Yeah.
I'll verify.
Thank you. You can verify in an email or text.
Is it on the calendar of events?
Yes, it says 12/9. And it does say principal reports and possible budget revision, as she said. I just need to make sure that date's that night.
I believe the date is the 16th, but we'll verify that and get that out.
Okay, appreciate
I
it.
apologize.
When's the break?
Well, and maybe,
23rd?
when is the conference? When is,
Oh, isn't it the first part of
It may-
December?
it would be that I think it's the week of the 16th, but it's on that Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Yes,
Yes.
the ASBA,
ASBA.
conference is the 17, 18.
17, 18, so either way. we
And then
would
the
be-
break is the next week. Yeah, winter break starts
What is
on.
it? Was 9 or 16?
The 9th is a telephonic meeting at 10:30 in the morning for possible budget revision.
And then,
16th is the regular meeting.
Okay.
and the
So
16th
that's
is
not
not on
listed
there.
there
Yeah,
right now.
that's not the way it's
Right.
Right, I think the regular December meeting is missing from this.
Yeah.
It is.
Which is the one with the principal's report.
Right.
And the
Okay.
9th is a telephonic.
Right.
I thought October was the last best
Appreciate
with
it.
budget until April.
It's whenever James wants to.
It's when depending on when the state budget comes out and when we get the forms and how accurate we are and how many revisions we have to do based on changes.
We're gonna
And
set
in
a record this
October,
year.
we're at festival, correct?
Yes, next month we're at festival.
That was the 16th.
And so when it's there, we start at 6 instead of 5:30.
Okay.
Because we have to drive so far.
Good luck.
You don't know, you don't know. if it's
We don't,
It's farther going that way than it
you
is
have
coming
to
down.
drive,
Exactly.
but it's further going back down that way than it is coming
Yes,
up
I
here.
know.
All right, we can get a adjournment, please.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We're adjourned at 7:20 PM.